Welcome back to the series of tutorials for Metric AB. I'm Marc from Adapter Audio, and in this one, we'll take a deep dive into the world of the filter bank. We'll discuss the whys, the whens, and the all-important hows. The filter bank is a great listening tool that enables us to hear a set of frequencies in isolation, so we can concentrate on them without any distractions. Mix engineers have been using this phenomenon forever, and that's why it's become a standard to do things like check mixes on different speakers. Since they all have different frequency responses, some have more bass than others, while others have more high end. The filter bank is an evolution of the old speaker test, and it has many applications while mixing. For instance, cutting out the bass can reveal more about the mid-range, which in turn helps us check if the vocal is balanced with the rest of the instrumentation. Or we can isolate just the high frequencies to see if they are harsh or if they are producing the air and sparkle we all love. And last but not least, it can also help us hone in on problem frequencies such as resonance spikes and vocal sibilance. So now we know about the whys and the whens, let's look at how it all works in Metric AB. New in version 1.5 is the spot filter. Just click anywhere on the graph to create a spot filter with a 2-octave range. We can move it around by dragging it, and we can also edit the width with the scroll wheel to widen or narrow the selection. This enables us to instantly hone in on any frequency range and listen to the details. Super fluid and super flexible. And when we want to toggle the bypass, just right-click anywhere on the graph. It couldn't be easier. If you prefer, you can also drag the node on the frequency line below the graph. And we can also use the scroll wheel to expand and close the range anywhere under the graph. We don't have to hover over the node to edit the range. This is especially useful when we are working with a very narrow frequency range, as it is more ergonomic than trying to grab a tiny little bit on the graph itself. We also have access to 5 preset buttons to cover the essential frequency ranges of highs, mids, low mids, bass, and sub. These enable us to get quick insights into each range at the push of a button. You can edit them the same way as a spot filter, and like the spot filter, you can drag the high and low boundary lines to set up your own ideal range for each preset. And of course, you can save them as your own user preset to use every time you load Metric AB. And for extra precision, use the number boxes while holding down the Shift key for fine tuning. Another thing you can do is click above the middle zone on the graph to select the frequency range above. And by the same logic, click below to select everything below. And you can also do the same thing by clicking the 3 filter range buttons above the preset buttons. Another important user preference is the filter slope. This affects the steepness of the slope of the filters, so for a natural roll-off, use 12 dB, and for a very sharp roll-off, use 48 dB. You can also select 24 and 36 slopes in between if they sound better to your ears. If you do edit the user preset and want to save it, you can do so with a right-click on the preset button. This opens a pop-up menu with all the options to save a single user preset or the current settings of all the presets in one go. You can also restore the user settings to their default state and even do a factory reset of all filter settings. To see the user defaults all in one space, open the settings panel by clicking the settings icon in the top right corner. There you'll see exactly what's loaded every time you instantiate Metric AB. You can also edit all the settings here or do a factory reset by clicking the factory defaults button. Another fun tool is the zoom link to filter option. This works with the plot view for spectrum, correlation, and stereo image. When this is active, it automatically zooms the spectrum to match the high-low range of the current preset. How do you do this? Enable the zoom and then click the link button. Now toggle a preset and the zoom snaps into action. This gives us more resolution to inspect the frequencies we are actively listening to. When we finish zooming around, we can bypass it by toggling the zoom button and the graph reverts to full frequency scale again. Another neat trick we can do with the filter bank is to combine it with the dynamics module to check the dynamic range of a specific set of frequencies, such as the low end. To do this, first let's head on over to the dynamics page and select a preset, like the bass button, and then click the post filter button. Now we can see and hear just the dynamic range of the low end. This gives us more insight into how the reference track is mixed, and how it compares to our mix. So not only can we isolate the bass from a listening perspective, but also we can see the amount of dynamic range produced by the interaction of the elements and work with EQ and compression to produce something that hits just as good or even better than our reference. After all, the idea of using references is to learn from them, and this gives us the confidence to produce our music to the highest standards, the way we want it to be heard. Where we want to monitor the full mix again, just toggle the button back to pre-filter. So now we've covered a bunch of different scenarios and workflows for the filter bank. Take it for a spin yourselves and see what insights it can bring to help you make better mixes. If you have questions or want to know more about anything, then please leave them in the comments section below. And check out our other deep dives in the series for working with loudness matching, using the sync mode, and all the new features available in Metric AB version 1.5. Download it now, and until the next one, happy mixing.